Hello and welcome back to the Linux Panic YouTube channel. This is part 5 of my Linux from scratch version 11.3 SystemD edition. Where we previously left off in the last video, we had just completed chapter 7 where we were entering the true root environment, and now unfortunately we are stuck with the hellscape that is chapter 8. Now, because all of this is self-explanatory, we can just go through these and go through here with the package management. It's just suggestions for how to do things, package management, all that. Just, yeah, that's up to you. But what I'm going to do is I am going to time-lapse all of this so you get to see it at the way I do it, but much faster instead of just a few hours. So you'll be able to just see at the top of the screen here what the time is. As we can see here, the time here currently says 23:46, and we will contrast and compare against what it is upon my finish, and that way you can get a generalized view of things. Now, it did say that these standard build units are calculated based off a 4-core system. Bearing in mind this is a 6-core virtual machine, so things will be just a smidge faster. But this is also why the camera's not on, so as to cut down, or so as to not overheat the camera, and also just cut down on the file size. So I'm going to mute the microphone and we shall return once this has all been done. Okay, now that we have finally finished with making of the software, we now come to the final part of Chapter 8. Debugging symbols. This is just using an example of what it's like to remove, what it's like to have the debugging information as part of your software. So in this case, it gives examples of bash binaries, glibc and gcc files with and without the debugger information. Now, it's generally known that if you remove the debugging symbols, you strip them out, you'll gain somewhere to shrink the bit of software down by 50 to 80%. In my case, well, in the case of what I'm doing, I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to be removing any of it. I'm not stripping any of it down because I have the space. So I'm just going to leave it as is. We ain't touching it, or we're not stripping anything down. Now this comes to the cleaning up portion. Now, there are some things we need to remove, such as all the files from temp. So if we do this, we need to drop that in. And we also need to, again, go down, or just cd there. We also need to remove all the libarchive tools, as we don't need them, and it can break stuff that we want to do. As well as the fact we also need to remove the compiler that we built in chapter 6 and 7. And finally, remove the test user. So that is, don't worry about this, it's because there was no mail spool created, so it's like, there's no mail spool, what do I do? It's fine. The test user has been removed. But that is it for this video. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I have been Nick. You have been amazing. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And goodbye.